Can you sit over here, Mary Jane?
Yeah.
You're going to look over at us and not at the camera lens if you can help it.
Right.
And okay. Now again, it is up to you how much you want to share here, but what I'll ask you is if you can say your name and spell it, please.
Bekka Litzner, Bekka Litzner.
Gotcha. All right. Now, you live here in St. Ignace, and you have a child. You don't have to say exactly how old, but infant or
Toddler.
a toddler. And what were you up to at the hospital? I guess on Monday.
I was getting meds for my son. Yeah, he was not with me, luckily.
Gotcha. And so this is you have 2 kids then?
I have 2 kids, yes.
Okay, so this is the 2nd kid.
Yeah,
cool.
My youngest.
And you're coming. Are you leaving, or did you just get there?
I was just leaving.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I guess in your own words, yeah. We'll ask you some more specific questions on how you felt, but just in your own words, what did you see happen?
So I was at the end of the driveway, and I saw this blue vehicle driving really slow. I'm like, that's really weird. And the car behind him was really close. And I'm like, all right, something happened between them. I want nothing to do with it. I'm not pulling out. I'm waiting. Well, all of a sudden he stopped, flipped around, then parked in front of me. The other guy started yelling out his window. At this time, I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, oh, this guy is in front of me. He's going to go across the street and start yelling at this guy. They're going to go have a feud. I'm like, okay, I still want nothing to do with this. So then I am like, all right, well, he's taking a while. At this time, he was gathering all of his cords in his bag, what have you, in this situation. My window was halfway down because it was hot in the car. So I thought nothing of it. It's sitting it's supposed to be safe. And he stood next to my window, and I'm just looking at him. He sighs. I'm like, what's wrong? Thinking he was going to say he was distressed or something, And he looks at me and he's like, I'm going to take your car. And I'm like, the heck you're not. Flipped it in reverse and went backwards. He came, like, at first I was going a little slow, so he reached inside my car to try to open the door. But then I sped up, and then that's when he started chasing after the vehicle. And he hung on to my mirror and my partially down window. And I went pretty fast backwards, and I abruptly stopped. And that's when my car jerked and his arm hit the glass really hard, and it broke the glass, getting his arm pretty good. And then he bounced off the pavement. And then after that, I was freaking out, and immediately I called 911. I go across to the Hampton, and all of a sudden, I'm freaking out even more, because I'm like, oh, what the heck just happened? And then they're like, well, can you describe him? What's happening? Finally did that. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him walking casually down the driveway as if nothing happened. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. Nothing. It was like he just looked like a casual person just going for a stroll. And he just kept walking towards me as if he just wanted my vehicle again. Because I was staying there so I could talk to the 911 operator describing him. And 2 minutes later, many police vehicles showed up. And the one state trooper that parked in front of him, he was about to walk away from the vehicle, and as if it was a nuisance, and he was just going to go around it.
And so to be clear, you end up witnessing the altercation of his arrest that we were told about?
Yeah.
And he just stood there, after you tried to get in your car. He knew you were there. He was just standing there.
He just stood there, and it was very awkward and kind of absent. I don't even know how to explain it. He was just out of it. And the way it just keeps replaying in my head. Just how he said it, I'm going to take your car. There was no weapons, no nothing. But it was just how he I don't know. And then he chased after my car. I'm like, oh no. But,
sort of the way
Yeah.
you were feeling, you had your child there, and you had the police chief we talked to pointed this out. You had your child there, random guys accosting you, and you had the presence of mind to do something about it,
Yeah.
and then to call 911. I mean, how did you stay focused on actually, shaking this guy off?
So at first it was just like mom mode, straight mom mode. I was like, I need to protect my daughter at first because I'm like, no way in heck are you taking my vehicle with my baby in it, first off. So first thing I thought of was to put my vehicle in gear and hightail it out of there. No way did I expect him to chase after my vehicle because it's a vehicle versus someone that's on foot, And then he held on, and I'm like, okay, like, what are you doing? What's your end game here? Like, you have all these vehicles around you. Why mine? And so I was like, okay, well, this is happening. But I'm very, very thankful for all the police officers that were there. State police and Ignace police were there first. And one officer in particular, he was there for me as I was like hyperventilating and not being able to breathe, just constantly making sure I was okay, and just that, making sure my daughter was okay. And then the managers and the general manager at Hampton, Amy and Samantha, they were both there for me and helping me. They brought my daughter inside, gave her snacks and drinks, and she was happy as could be watching TV inside. And I had to go for a walk. It was so bad. And I'm still having really bad anxiety attacks daily. And yeah, not good.
And again, if it gets uncomfortable, just let us know. But is there anything more you can tell us about what you just said, that these past 4 days have been difficult? It sounds like they have been at least a little bit difficult for you in terms of just sort of having this memory to deal with.
Yeah, I actually had to go to an event yesterday. It was a lovely event, but it was at the Hampton. And I ended up having a breakdown there. And it was just like, thinking about it gave me such severe anxiety. Like, just the thought of him being released or him being out there just terrifies me. Like, I don't know who he is. I don't know how he is, like, in real life. But that experience alone, I'm terrified he's going to want to come find me.
You have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Sure.
You don't have to answer this, but we're wondering if the child that you were with, is he, like, capable of memories and capable of understanding, or is he just a baby?
So my daughter, she'll be 3 next month.
Okay.
She laughed when we went backwards. She had no idea what was going on. But for me, I'm happy it was her and not my son. My son is autistic. He would have lost his ever living mind and he would need therapy. But as far as her, I don't know if she recalls anything. She can't really voice that. But as far as I know, and my knowledge of it is she's okay. But yeah, I am seeking a therapist.
And then my last question really is, when we're talking about this, you would say when it was actually happening, you were in mom mode. There wasn't any, you would say, fear. You just did exactly what you needed to do. And then when you knew you were safe and the police were around, and now that's when everything kind of caught up to you and you realized what was going on.
Yeah, so as soon as I left the hospital parking lot and I zoomed over to the Hampton, I was still on the phone with 911. I was bawling my eyes out really hard. I couldn't breathe, but like I realized when I'm talking to them, they're not going to understand what I'm saying when I'm crying, so I had to calm down a bit. But after then it was like I lost it because I had no idea what was happening still. Like, it was so hard to process. And then it took so many officers to take him down, so watching that was just like, I don't know, like, what would have happened if it was just me and him. So then that crossed my mind. I'm just so thankful that there were people there for support, and my mom was there, and not even like 3 minutes, so that helped a ton.
And then, is there anything that you just want to say?
Anything else you want to add before we stop?
Not that I can think of.
And they're looking for you.